Hello and welcome to another episode of Butterfly Kisses, a journey of spiritual transformation. Today I am here with a very special guest. He is my nephew, Jonah Daniels. And Jonah has been with me this week, and we have had some very interesting conversations about God and spirituality. And I asked him if he'd like to be on the podcast. So I thought that we would just have a conversation and share with you guys what it's like for a 12, almost 13-year-old to have a relationship with God and what his thoughts are on this. So I'd like to introduce you to Jonah and let him tell you a little bit about himself and what he likes to do and what he does at school and that sort of thing to start off with. Jonah, can you tell everybody a little bit about who you are?
Well, down at my school, everybody, elementary, high school, and middle school, we are all one because our island's so small, we can't have 3 separate buildings for school. So middle school and high school, they go into the same building, and elementary is right next to it. The
So you go to a small school because you
Yeah.
live on a small island, but what kind of things do you like to do?
Well, I like fishing, hunting, hanging out with friends, riding around,
Toy
playing
stuff?
games. Yeah.
You're quite the baseball player, from what I'm told too, huh?
Yeah, I'm more into baseball than a lot of kids in my class. But for me, baseball, I think, is easier to comprehend for me because basketball and soccer and things like that, that's a little bit more difficult. I mean, because we're on such small island, we also don't have football like tennis and things like that. But the sports we do have is baseball, basketball, soccer, and volleyball. Those are the sports we do have.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit about what you think about God.
God, for me, I think he's one who created us in our world. I don't think that we just happened like
The Big Bang or anything?
yeah. I just feel like it's coming to the point where the Bible is bringing up a lot of things that are true, that are coming true. And parts of the Bible is saying that when Jesus returns, there's going to be the 7 trumpets. And there's going to be, before the 7 trumpets blow, there's going to be like a pandemic. There's going to be all these different things that's going to happen before he returns. And that's what's happening now. So honestly, I think he's coming back sooner than later. I think he'll be coming back before the next decade.
What does that mean for you?
Me personally, I think that we should start handing ourselves over, because if we don't do that soon, you guys or me or anybody will be left behind. The people who actually believe will actually go up into heaven.
What do you think about the whole pandemic and COVID and how has that affected you this past year?
Well, to me personally, I'm not that worried about COVID. I mean, I get COVID. I'm hoping that nobody else will in my family, my friends. But if I do get COVID, I'm hoping that nothing bad happens from it. Like I don't get really, really sick and die like a lot of the people that have. But I really don't worry about it much.
Just continue living your life?
Yeah.
What do you think about, when you brought up a good point about dying, what do you think about dying?
Dying, I really was, maybe years ago, I was really scared to death. But now I feel like God will help me and help us while we go down into heaven. I think that God, if we die, we go up into heaven, we're going to be happy. We're going to be with people that we've lost down here. So I think that if at some point in life, like soon, we do die, because every single point we all die at some point, which is sad because, I mean,
well, it's kind of a given.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, life's good, precious. You want to make the most out of it. I'm trying to as a child, I want to do things that is fun, like reckless and stuff like that.
What do you mean by reckless?
Like, I don't know, like
And I hope too reckless.
things that I can't do as an adult because like against the law and stuff. Things like that. I want to do it at a young age, so I'm able to actually have fun and do as a young age. Because once I turn into an adult, I would have to take care of kids.
All the fun leaves once you turn into an adult, you
Yeah.
know. Can't have fun anymore.
Yeah, kids, taxes. I mean, all the things that suck as an adult will happen. So I'm saying, have fun as a kid, be safe, but also at the same time, have fun as a kid.
Enjoy. Well, that's a good philosophy. What do you think about miracles?
Miracles. I think miracles are actually really true because, like, what's that one movie called? Where that little girl fell through that tree. Well, there's another one. Like that kid who fell in the ice and was pronounced dead, but I forgot what the movie's called. Breakthrough. That's what it was. Like the movie Breakthrough, when the kid fell through the ice and was pronounced dead. His mom kept on praying, asking God to save him, don't take him away. And then he had a pulse and was able to actually be alive. That I believe in. That I feel like God came down and actually touched him and was able to actually live life, because he fell in, I think he was 14 when he fell. So God came down, touched him, helped him live life longer.
Interesting. Do you think God has touched your life?
Definitely, yes. One time I fell off my bike and I should have been hurt a lot more. I wasn't. Like it was like the only thing that was actually really painful were my knees. That was it. My face should have been all cut up, wasn't. My hand probably should have been broken, wasn't. It's just my knees were cut up.
Do you believe in angels?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen an angel?
Well, I've heard them around me, but I've never seen one.
You ever experienced a miracle from an angel?
Not yet. Not yet.
Yeah. Probably saved you on that bike.
Yeah.
You fell down.
And also there's another time when I sat on my knees and just prayed and prayed when I hurt my finger. One of my friends, he told me to watch a video, and there's this boxer who had the same thing that looked like my hand, the swelling and everything, and he almost had his hand amputated. So I watched that video and looked exactly like my hand. So I was on my knees for probably 20 minutes, like just asking to come down here, help, touch my hand. And the swelling went down in 2 days.
Wow. Very cool. That's awesome.
And that's when I was actually able to use my hand. So
good deal. What about your friends? Do you and your friends ever talk about God or spirituality or
yeah,
miracles?
we talk about it sometimes. We don't talk about it much, but they say that they all believe in God. They think that God's real, but also at the same time they don't really like read the Bible, things like that. Like I don't think that they believe God, but I mean, they're my friends. We don't get too many of them, so honestly, I'm gonna hang out with them. Anyways, I mean, they don't believe in God. They don't believe in God. I would try to get them to, just so we can spend more time when we get up into heaven. But if they don't believe, they don't believe. I mean, I'll try to spend as much time with them as I can.
What do you think about heaven?
Heaven. Well, heaven is like, for me personally, I think heaven will be very joyful, happy, painless. Like on TikTok, I follow a lot of Christians, and they've been saying once you get into heaven, you're gonna live probably 100 years in heaven. And after that 100 years, you're gonna be sent down to another earth where you're gonna be able to build your dream home. And in Jesus's mansion, they're gonna have your own rooms. So if one night you want to go over there and stay the night, you're able to stay the night in Jesus's mansion.
Interesting. Do you believe in reincarnation?
Well, if I knew what that meant, then I don't know. I have no idea what that means.
Very, very honest answer. I like that.
I don't know what that means.
Reincarnation means that you die and come back as somebody else.
Yeah. Like there's a.
Do you believe you've had a past life?
Past lives, I believe and I don't believe. Sometimes I feel like they're made up, but honestly, sometimes they're like unexplained. But I remember this one story in the Bible. I forgot what his name was, but he died, and there was people who went to Jesus asking if he can try to bring the guy back, and Jesus went down to the tomb with the people, and he brought the guy back to life, and he was actually able to walk out of the tomb alive.
That was a big miracle. Yeah, brought him back to life. What about hell?
Hell.
Do you believe in hell?
Yes, I do actually. I think that hell is burning. Like on TikTok, I posted a video. If you put your hand over a candle and feel that burn on your hand, and that's what it's going to feel like all over your body for eternity. You're not going to be able to get out of that pain and suffering.
Is there any way to keep from going to hell that you know of?
Well, for me personally, I think the best way to stay out of hell is believe in God, spread the gospel, make sure that God needs to be the way to go. Make sure God is anything to you. Make sure he is not in your head. Make sure he's in your heart.
I feel that God is just love all the way around.
Yeah, I think God is all around us. I think he is a giant shield from all the pain and suffering that we have in life.
Well, that leads to another good question. If there is God, then why do we have pain and suffering? From a 13-year-old viewpoint, why would there be pain and suffering?
I think pain and suffering is something that's just part of life. Like when my uncle died, it really hurt. It sucked, but also it's a part of life. It's a part of life. Death is something that is going to happen. So, yeah.
Do you think that those who pass on and go to heaven, do you think that they're still here with us and can help us?
Yes, I feel like that's like my uncle. He is probably watching down on us right now.
Oh, I'm sure he is. He's probably saying, "Get out of my house."
Yeah.
In a loving way.
Yeah.
In a very loving way.
Like my favorite things to do with my uncle was like wrestle around with him. Like we always used to jump on each other. And I remember me and Aiden, one of my other cousins, we always used to fight around with him.
He loved playing with you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let me ask you this question. Where did God come from?
Honestly, that's something that I never really thought of. I think that God was just here. God just been living and been alive for centuries and centuries and centuries.
Why do you think he created a Jonah?
Because I think he created everybody for a certain type of reason. I don't know what the reasons are, but I feel like he all created us for a certain type of purpose for us.
Do you have any idea what your purpose is yet? Not that you have to know at the age of 12 or 13, but
yeah, I don't know
Just be curious.
Yeah, when I probably get out of high school or college, and that's when I'm gonna figure out what my purpose is in life.
I'm 15, still trying to figure out my purpose. Getting there, maybe. Who knows? Who knows? Well, let me ask you another question. And I ask a lot of my guests this, so you can't get out of it because I ask them all. Well, first of all, do you have anything that you'd like to say to the listeners about God or your personal experience with God, just to kind of wrap it up? Do you have anything that you want to say
Well,
in particular?
the best way to get closer to God is when something happens to you. Like the way how I got closer to him was where I live, there's a lot of hurricanes and flash floods. And our last one, which was Hurricane Dorian, that flooded our house and it started to rise. I was begging Jesus and God to stop the flooding, and I just kept on asking him to. And maybe after saying that 5 or 10 times, the flooding went down. And I think we got half a foot in there, I think.
Yeah, that was pretty scary.
And I think our house is 3 feet off the ground, so it was a lot of water in the house.
I remember your mom telling me about that one. That was a lot of water. That was scary. So, the question I ask all my guests: if you could sit on a park bench and talk to anybody, dead or alive, and ask him any questions, who would it be and why? And what would you ask them?
Well, I don't know that many people that I actually truly love who has died besides my uncle. So I'll probably talk to my uncle.
Yeah.
And
What would you ask him?
I'll just ask him how he's doing, how is it. And I would actually be able to have a chance to say goodbye
Yeah.
because I didn't have that chance.
Well, Jonah, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your perspective on God and spirituality, and coming from a 12-year-old perspective. It's been very enlightening. And I appreciate you taking the time to do that with me.
Yep.
Good kid. Thank you for joining me on another episode of Butterfly Kisses, a journey of spiritual transformation. If you like what you've heard, please subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. This way you won't miss it when a new episode is released. Also join me on the Facebook page at Butterfly Kisses Podcast. Here we can continue the conversations we've been discussing on these podcasts, and you can also ask questions of our guests as well. Also, if you're interested in learning more about Akashic Record readings, you can schedule a free 15-minute consultation with me on the Facebook page, or you can do so by visiting my website at amygray-cunningham.com. Again, thank you, and remember, always spread your gorgeous wings, my friend, and fly. Until next time, see ya.